All right, let's dive into something that sounds like it's straight out of a movie, but is actually becoming a very real possibility. Why India needs a space force. To really get a handle on this, let's kick things off with a little thought experiment. So picture this. A nation is under attack. We're talking a full-scale assault, missiles flying. But then, something goes horribly wrong for the attackers. Their own super-advanced AI-powered fighter jets they start attacking each other. They're literally firing on their own guys. And it's not just in the air. Deep under the sea, their nuclear submarines are suddenly blind, just drifting, lost. And back on land, total chaos. The command centers go completely dark, totally cut off from all their troops. And then, in a blink, it all just stops. The banks go down. The entire power grid collapses. No mobile phones, no air traffic control. The whole country is thrown into a complete and total blackout. Why? Because high above, their own satellites are spinning out of control, crashing into each other. So, does this sound like science fiction? Maybe. But here's the thing. It's not. This is exactly what the future of war could look like. It's a terrifying glimpse into just how critical and how powerful controlling space really is. And that brings us to a pretty startling reality. This isn't some far-off concept. Space has already been officially declared a domain of warfare. You could say the starting gun for this whole new race was fired on December 20th, 2019. That's when then-President Donald Trump made a historic announcement. For the first time ever, a country, the United States, was creating a military branch dedicated only to space. And look, they weren't messing around. They backed it up with a budget of over 13 lakh crore rupees. Now, to put that number in perspective for you, India's entire military budget for the Army, Navy, and Air Force combined is about 6.8 lakh crore. So the US is spending double that on just their Space Force. That's insane. It really makes you wonder, right? What on earth are they so worried about that they'd spend that kind of money? Well, to get that answer, we've got to look back a bit. Because the idea of space as a battlefield isn't new. It didn't just happen overnight. It's been building for decades. And what's really wild is how early this all kicked off. I mean, we're talking way back in the 1970s. The Soviet Union launched the Alma space station. And get this, it was armed with an actual cannon in space. A decade later, they tested a weapon that could hunt down and destroy another satellite. And from there, things just escalated. China did its first anti-satellite or ASAT missile test in 2007. India showed we could do it too with Mission Shakti in 2019. And then Russia jumped in 2021. Yeah, the space arms race is very, very real. And today, we're way beyond just simple missiles. We're talking about some seriously advanced stuff. Russia has these dummy satellites that can shoot out metal projectiles like a shotgun in space. China, they've got satellites armed with EMP weapons, lasers, microwaves, and even ones with robotic arms that can literally just grab another satellite and crush it. The battlefield isn't just physical anymore. It's digital, it's electronic, it's the whole shebang. So, okay, why should you care about all this? What does it actually mean for us down here on Earth? Well, everything. Absolutely everything. Our entire modern world, from the military down to you and me, runs on this incredibly fragile network of satellites. It's our lifeline. Let me give you a perfect example. Remember the raid that took down Osama bin Laden back in 2011? The unsung hero of that entire operation? Satellites. A stealth drone was streaming live video right back to the CIA. Fighter jets were ready to scramble at a moment's notice. And you know how they were all connected? Through a secure satellite system. If that link had been broken for even a second, the whole mission could have fallen apart. And look, this isn't just a military thing. Back in 2016, a single GPS satellite had a tiny, tiny timing error. The result? ATMs and cell phone towers across North America just stopped working. Think about that. One little glitch caused that much chaos. Now imagine what a targeted, deliberate attack could do. Just think about your day. The GPS that gets you around? Satellites. Your mobile phone connection? Satellites. Getting cash from an ATM, watching TV? All satellites. But on a national level, it's even more serious. We're talking air traffic control, military comms, and the absolute most critical one, the link to our nuclear submarines. That's our second strike capability. That's our ultimate insurance policy. If that link gets severed, we lose our biggest deterrent. Okay, and this is where it gets a little worrying for India. Don't get me wrong, ISRO is absolutely world-class. What they've achieved is incredible. But when we talk specifically about the military side of things, about space defense, well, there's a real danger we're falling behind. Let's just do a quick side-by-side. India has our own navigation system, NavIC. It's a huge achievement, but it's regional. It covers India and the area around it. China's system, Beidou, is global. It's everywhere. Theirs is fully up and running, built into phones and cars all over the world. Ours, we're still trying to get people to use it. That's not just a small difference. That's a massive strategic gap. This reminds me of something. I was watching Age of Ultron a while back. You know the scene where Tony Stark's armor gets smashed and new pieces just fly in from this orbiting platform to replace it? And I remember thinking, wow, that's a genius idea. What if we could do that with satellites? What if India could have replacement satellites just parked in orbit, ready to go live the second one of ours gets taken out? Our comms would never go down. I thought it was pure sci-fi, a cool movie idea. So I started digging around. And you're not going to believe this. The United States has been actively doing this since 2010. It's called the X-37B. It's basically a robotic spaceplane, no crew, and it can stay up in orbit for over 900 days. That's almost 3 years. What's it doing up there? Well, that's top secret. But the best guess is that it's a test bed for exactly this kind of stuff. Advanced space weapons and, you guessed it, deploying new satellites whenever they want. So that brilliant sci-fi idea I had, yeah, it was already a reality for other countries more than a decade ago. So you take all of this together, right? The very real threats from other countries, our complete dependence on satellites for everything, and this growing technology gap, it all points to one clear conclusion. It's time to talk seriously about a dedicated Indian Space Force. So what would the Space Force even do? Well, for starters, just having one sends a powerful message to our adversaries. Don't mess with our stuff in space. Its job would be to protect our most important satellites, to make sure we don't face a national blackout if a war breaks out, and to have those backup satellites ready to launch in an instant. And yeah, a big part of it would be developing our own counter-space weapons, not to start a fight, but to make sure anyone thinking about it knows we can hit back. It's all about deterrence.
Look, the bottom line is this. The threat isn't coming soon. It's already here. The weapons are in orbit right now. The battlefield is already drawn. So the only real question left for us is, are we ready?